22. What about the weather as well? Is that going to throw in a decisive curveball, as Davide Tardozzi said on the grid? Maybe some rain to fall in the next 40 minutes or so. The warm-up lap then underway here at the Petronas Grand Prix of Malaysia. Rossi won the title in 2009. Nerves are still needed in Sepang as Bagnaia tries to convert match point number one. 14 points clear. Pecco Bagnaia's dreams seem shattered, didn't they, for Motogp glory in 2022. Cast your minds back to the German Grand Prix at the Sachsenring. Sepang is go! Great start from pole position, electric start from Jorge Martin, and now Bastianini away slowly from second on the grid. Marc Marquez a better start to a Grand Prix for Pecco Bagnaia than that one he's just made here in Malaysia. 9th to second on the run to that second corner. Stunning from the world champion elect.
So Quartararo needs to deal with his teammate Frankie Morbidelli earlier.
Spargo's not really made any progress. He started 10th, he was 11th, well now he's back up in a 10th through that third sector.
It's been even worse for his teammate Maverick Vinales. He's down to
Island last weekend. Quattararo's just running a wider line, cuts a late apex now as he slings that Yamaha into turn 2. Quattararo had an excellent first lap. Full credit to him, 12th to 5th.
This is on board with Pecco Bagnaia. He gets a great initial launch. He's already blasted past.
Whistle when he does, and if he does, attack Bagnaia.
Yeah, he's got to be clean, but also bash sector. The gap to Marquez ahead of him is up to 9/10 of a second.
There is Quattararo then, capitalising on what was a stunning start for him as well. We said what a good start it was for Bagnaia. The pair of them both recovered 7 places on that first lap. Bastianini was a slim chance for Aleix Espargaro and the Aprilia to capture this year's Motogp World Championship, and that looks like will be the case. Aleix Espargaro was picked up on the last lap by both Brad Binder and Marco Bezzecchi. He slipped back down to 11th place, fading fast. A bit of a gap of almost half a second, then back to Brad Binder, who's having another Super Sunday show, isn't he, the South African? You know he's going to be a hard charger coming through the pack as well.
So Quartararo gaining time on this lap. He's right up behind Marc Marquez now. You can see left hand side of your screen the 3/10 gap. You can
place at the front of this Grand Prix. There he is on the 89 bike into turn number 4. Quattararo is honing in here, isn't he, on Marc Marquez. Likewise the beast on Bagnaia.
Aleix Espargaro's World Championship hopes are fading fast. He's now down to 15th position. Jack Miller has
be the understatement of the century, wouldn't it?
Well, Quartararo then, we can see him now from on
Marquez. He's gone really wide into turn number 15 then, and Fabio Quartararo does sweep on through. Can Marquez get him on the cutback? He certainly can. That was just that wider line. There's multiple lines on the entry to that off-camera turn number 15. The camera can be quite deceiving there.
Quartararo in 4th, but crucially now for Quartararo, with some clear track ahead of him, no one sending his front tyre pressure and temperature through the roof. He can get his head down now. Can he start to close?
Great corner speed on that GP21 through turn 14. Just gobbles up the meters on Bagnaia, but Bagnaia gets the brilliant drive, doesn't he, out of that turn 14. There's nothing that Bastianini can do here on the brakes into this final corner.
Martin's
Fabio Quartararo to try and keep the pressure on Pecco Bagnaia. It'll be a big ask, wouldn't it? 21 points the gap would be to recover in Valencia. Well, it'd be simple bit of homework being done here by Mir and Rins, isn't it? Having a good look at the motorcycle there, jumping on very soon. They've both been cleared, as you'd expect, with Suzuki withdrawing it in the season to test the Honda RC213V in the post-race test session in Valencia on the Tuesday.
Leaders ahead of him, but he needs to find a couple of tenths a lap minimum at this stage.
Over the line at the end of lap 6, there were 5 thousandths of a second between these two men in terms of their lap times on that 6th lap of 20 here in Sepang. Here comes the Bastianini. I thought he was going to fire that.
Wins the Grand Prix, and Quartararo is 4th or lower. Bagnaia would be champion. Quartararo is still 3rd, and he's got 1.3 seconds in his pocket over Joan Mir, who, as I say, is just past Marc Marquez. Bagnaia almost coming to grief there with Bastianini. Ducati will not enjoy.
From Bez, because it's on him now to try and hunt down Fabio Quartararo. If Bagnaia does win the Grand Prix, Marco Bezzecchi will be giving a huge helping hand to his
lap. Through the first couple of sectors, he's only pulled a few hundredths back on Fabio Quartararo. Nothing substantial at this stage. Quartararo is essentially in time attack mode now. He's on his own in 3rd place. He's 2.7 seconds behind this battle for the lead. So important for Quartararo, just out at 2:00.111. He pulled the best part of 4/10 of a second out of Fabio Quartararo ahead of him. So this is sort of following the Ducati master plan at the moment. They've got Bagnaia in the lead with a Ducati up behind him, whether Bastianini loses the lead to Enea Bastianini. Quartararo needs to be 7th or lower for Bagnaia to be crowned champion, but as it stands at the moment, Quattararo really needs to be trying.
Over the line it comes, gets down to a second. So Fabio Quattararo under big pressure. He lost 2.5 tenths on that last lap to Bezzecchi.
And the vast majority of it, as mentioned, is in that fourth sector. That's where Quattararo has kind of helped.
Season finale in 2 weeks' time, but it's all on now Marco Bezzecchi. Can he find a way through on Fabio Quattararo for what potentially would be a title-winning move against the Yamaha man?
I'd love to know what's going on.
Tight there as Bastianini closed on the brakes into that final corner. These two have had their battle royales already in 2022. Cassimines back to French Grand Prix in Le Mans. Cassimines back to a classic in Misano. Also the Motul and Aragon race. Bastianini has
to make it clean here. The last thing Bagnaia needs to do is make a mistake. Remember in Le Mans, when Enea Bastianini took the lead from Bagnaia, he followed it with 2 very high-profile errors, one of which took him out of the Grand Prix, of course.
Yellow flags are out in sectors 2 and 3. It's not acting out. What will be the tactics? Will there be team orders? Will there be a couple of weeks to sort of have the pressure festering away? He wants the job done here today. Bastianini, though it is, that's now put sort of 6 or 7 bike lengths between himself and his future teammate. The World Championship at stake here, but pride at stake between these two. Pushing himself and that factory Yamaha beyond the limit, surely, as Bagnaia closed on Bastianini into turn number 15. There's going to be 8 laps to go here very shortly in Malaysia. A gripping and engrossing with Gigi Dell'Igna. This is the prize that Ducati have so desperately craved for 15 long years. Are they going to issue team orders to Enea Bastianini? Will Bastianini 13 of 20 in the books here then in Sepang, and it's still Enea Bastianini with the lead. His rear tyre snakes sideways on the brakes into the first corner. He's pushing.
And that's the last thing Ducati want. Quattararo would then take the World Championship lead. So really, Ducati need to nip this in the bud. If they want to let Bagnaia through, they can't let this linger. Look how close they're getting.
Yeah, Bagnaia almost running to the back of Enea Bastianini there, going through turn 7 and 8. And Bagnaia does retake the lead. Brilliant move that. He now still cannot find a way through on the factory Yamaha man. Surely now Enea Bastianini will not retaliate on Pecco Bagnaia.
Yeah, so we're now a Marco Bezzecchi overtake away from the World Championship going to Ducati. Marco Bastianini is staying back.
Attention, let's not forget as well, Fabio Quattararo with a broken middle finger on his left hand.
Matt, Fabio Quattararo has had 4 tenths out of them on this lap. As Ducati are trying to
Champions ride by the current world champion Fabio Quattararo. Absolutely awesome job by him. He's had to fight the Ducatis, hasn't he, right from that opening Grand Prix in Qatar. Are we going to have a tense final?
Up to 0.6 of a second so far. It's now gone up again in the first half of this lap. So
ability and corner speed of that factory Yamaha as they sweep now through turn number 11. Fabio Quattararo is still that 1.6 second gap to Enea Bastianini in second place. Let's just check the margin through sector 3. He has over
a 1/10 of a second on Bastianini, a 1/10.5 on Bagnaia. That's not enough. If he catches them at that rate, he won't get there in time on the final lap of this Grand Prix. But he looks, as Matt said, to have broken Bezzecchi in the battle for 3rd and 4th. Behind them, Alex Rins.
Of course, he's got the far better winning record in 2022.
Well, the best thing Enea Bastianini can do now is just sort of sit around that sort of half-second margin behind Bagnaia, so much so that he's not putting Bagnaia under pressure that he's fearing an overtake, but also protect him.
By his fingernails, 3rd place will be enough to keep the championship going.
At this stage of the Grand Prix, we could see some riders running into tyre troubles. Yellows are out.
Or has there already been a dashboard message going the way of Enea Bastianini? The mapping 8 or whatever the signal is. Mir has remounted then after his tip-off. I guess that was in the first corner, wasn't it? 2.5 laps to go though here in Sepang. Bagnaia on course for yet
tantalisingly 1.9 seconds behind his title rival out front.
Yeah, looks like the best Quattararo can hope for is a 3rd place. Great ride by him. Lewis mentioned the great start. The platform that set Bagnaia up for this victory was his lightning start, 9th to 2nd.
And ask the question there. He's got a comfortable gap behind him. 2.4 seconds now to Marco Bezzecchi, who's in a very safe and comfortable 4th place. Alex Rins has broken clear of Marc Marquez. It's a 1.6 second gap between those two in the battle for 5th and 6th. Marquez could yet still...
His first world champion in 15 years, but it will not be job done. Surely Enea Bastianini is not going to fling that green Ducati on the inside of this now. Enea Bastianini just swarming harassing and hounding Pecco Bagnaia late on here. They come into the first gear, turn number 9. Hard on the brakes, the pair of them go, they both stake sideways and back.
Hugely significant victory.
Pecco Bagnaia then is on course for victory here in the Malaysian Grand Prix, but the World Championship will wrongers clasp on that Motogp crown this year. He will go to the Ricardo Tomo circuit in Valencia in 2 weeks' time, 23 points clear of Fabio Quartararo in the World